Alright guys, I have returned as Zatanna. Welcome to the live. I have a little suit jacket on just to keep the algos happy. So tonight what we're going to do is we are actually going to read some Justice League Dark, and we are going to read The Death of Magic, the end of it. And so I will do a bit of a synopsis just for this live read so that you guys get aware of the story, and so the replay will have that all in check. But happy new moon, happy Gemini new moon, my friends. I am Zatanna, the Mistress of Magic, Miss Z. You know, you can call me Z. My friends call me Z. So welcome to the live. We are going to be talking all about magic tonight. I do have a read that we're going to be doing, The Death of Magic. Just a small snippet of it. We're going to talk about the story itself because I think it's a good one. Deals with other worlds that perhaps you may be aware of as well. And we're also going to do some Promethea. I was reading some Promethea, rereading some Promethea, and I was like, I don't remember it being quite so trippy or so relevant as to now. So we're going to see what happens as it comes to magic. So welcome to the live, my friends. I am wearing pants. I'm just backing up so you can see. But I do have my little suit jacket on though, right? Because it all matters. So I do have some gloves. Well, I was going to try to work on some actual magic tricks ahead of this live, but stay tuned for that next Monday. I'm going to try to work on some actual show magic. So, fun fact about Zatanna, if you're not familiar with Zatanna, she was actually born near Arkham Asylum in Gotham City, and she's actually a big part of the DC universe in the comic books. She's I'm half Homo Magi. My mom's half Homo Magi, and from Atlantis. So me and Kita have that in common. That's why I have my spice eyes. Oh, thank you. Oh, I'm going to say hello to everybody. Thank you for the heart. I don't know why I have to approve heart emojis. Thank you for joining me this evening, my friends, and welcome to the live room. Oh, say no to monkeypox. Thank you for that. I'm in my little synthwave magic universe. I'm actually working also on some choreography to Janet Jackson's I can't, so lonely, I can't let just anybody hold me. She's my other Taurus friend. She's a great dancer. So I want to say, hey Brandon C, I have gloves for you later, no worries. It does add to the outfit, but it's hard for me to turn comic book pages with them on. 200 KO. Hey, how's it going? Haley McLeod. Coco Two. Thank you for the lights. And Rebel Rider. Hey, what's up? Hey, Tom. Thank you. So Zatanna, last time Zatanna went live, we had Batman. We were talking about her many love interests, and he was saying that Constantine's on the bottom. I would argue that Constantine actually has some game. I read you guys a comic book once where Swamp Thing and Constantine switched bodies. Let me just turn this down a slight bit. Okay, perfect. All right, let's get intimate. And I have my little mushroom friend here. My mushroom stool. It's for when we do the read, so I'm not standing for the whole thing, right? I was planning on doing a dance routine ahead of this, or no diggity. I like the way you work here, no diggity. I like to bag it up. Okay, oh my gosh. That'd be a fun dance to do with Zatanna as well. Anyways, welcome to the live, my friends. What we're going to be reading tonight is The Death of Magic, and we're going to do some Promethea as well. Where do I want to put this mic as I get that set up? I'm going to put that here so you can hear some of the synthwave music that I have going on. If you're not familiar with synthwave, it's very much this aesthetic. I have the jacket on today just because TikTok gets really mad at things like fishnets, even though I'm mostly covered, right? Oh, thank you so much. This is all play, right? This is all about having fun with magic. So I'm gonna bring my mic closer to me, and I'm gonna tell you a story. some stories about Zatanna off the top of my head, because I've already read a few books or stories with Zatanna, but this is all in my effort to organize all of my readings and my content in a way, putting on my Batgirl, like, so Batgirl, Supergirl, Zatanna, they're all in the same universe, right? So I'm trying to work on some stuff where they all get to play together, because Zatanna is the magical backup. Supergirl actually has a vulnerability to magic. And so, you know, for extra magical help and support, that's why there's Justice League Dark, right? That deals with the more like, you know, the way they explain it though, like magic versus like technology in DC is unique. It's to DC. I think that magic and tech are far more related than what that DC universe has it's modeled as. I don't know what you guys think. Put this here. That might be better for the mic. Oh yay, good. I'm so glad. J-Pot, you actually could recognize me. And also, you know what it is though? Here's what I think that the reason why TikTok has a problem with too much skin, and I kind of get it, is that let's say these characters, like they're like, oh, kids are gonna be watching this, so oh God forbid there's too much boob. I don't know. I think about a lot of the animation that I used to watch growing up, like in the 90s, and like that's what inspires my cosplay, really. And when I was growing up, I was like, one day I'm gonna look like a comic book character, and here we are. Okay, science doesn't even exist, magic does. You know what? You are, what sign are you again, my friend? Because I feel like you're a magically inclined sign if we're all playing on the team. So like, when I think of Justice League, parts of me are very Zatanna in nature, and I'll tell you how I found out about Zatanna. So, as far as I know, Zatanna hasn't been done in live action. But she is part of Gotham City. I wouldn't mind playing Zatanna. And she does a lot of interesting stories, right? Because she is related to Constantine and magic itself, and also just the way that even the multiverse works. So I first found out about Zatanna when I was doing stuff about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So I will explain. Yes, Shazam. Oh, I love Shazam. So fun thing about Shazam, right? Like the fact that Shazam's original name was Captain Marvel, but because of like copyright stuff, it's changed to Shazam. But Shazam's actually that wizard on the Rock of Eternity who like has his champions, right? And I actually have a cosplay in the works of Mary Marvel, like old school Mary Marvel with like the lightning bolt. So I guess like Shazam's sister, yeah, I think that's her. They like Supergirl calls her Mary Sunshine in the comic books, and I could never figure out if she was like making fun of her or if that was her actual name. No problem, Brandon. I will leave the jacket on. These are longer gloves. And I actually do realize that Zatanna's true cosplay would be for her to have a white bow tie and a white corset. So I'm working on that. No worries. As I think I may have been chosen by the old gods. Tojo. Oh, thank you. Okay. So let me talk about Zatanna for a minute. If you guys are familiar with Zatanna, you tell me what your favorite... Oh, they restricted my live. They did it. They did it. They did it, you guys. They restricted it. I thought that if I had a jacket, that would be okay. So you know what? I'm going to... Yes. You know what? I know. Well, what it's gonna do is basically, it said that I was doing things that some people may find uncomfortable, which is like showing too much skin. That's all right though. I thought that this is my burlesque outfit too. So Zatanna, I'm just gonna finish off this. Why they're not here then? So let's see. I'm gonna try to be good for a little bit, and then I'm gonna stop it, and then I'm gonna like sit on my mushroom, and then I'm going to read you guys the story for the rest of our time together, okay? No problem. So Zatanna, I came upon Zatanna's story when I was doing research so by day, when I'm not cosplaying and having fun and dancing and stuff. By day, I'm a neurolinguistic astrologer, as well as I write and I produce and I video edit. My past life was like a project manager, so I do that more freelance now. So I work with like a few groups like Decriminalize Nature and like helping animals is really close to my heart. I'm doing this horse healing meditation for abuse survivors on Friday. So hopefully I can do some of that live because I really love horses and all that kind of stuff. So bringing this back to like magical stuff, I was doing some research on the Ninja Turtles, Leonardo, Raphael, Michelangelo, and Donatello, because all of those turtles, their names come from Renaissance artists, right? And so if we think about Renaissance artists, we think about artists that aren't just, proficient in one medium. Like, I am a painter and I write and I'm a poet and I sculpt and I do a whole bunch of other stuff. So I feel like that is what is also in the vibe of where we are in the cosmos right now, this Renaissance. I also think that I probably had a past life as like William Blake or something, some sort of angsty romantic poet back in the day. I was like, you know what? I hope I come back one day as a cute girl in the prairies. And so here we are. I got a little tingle on that. I might be a little bit right, but I grew up very tomboyish, I guess, but girly at the same time. So I had a lot of girlfriends, a lot of guy friends, and it was just a lot of more, I guess we would get lost in our imagination a little more. So I found Zatanna when I was doing stuff on the fixed stars. So the fixed stars are related to fixed signs in astrology. So your fixed stars are Regulus is with Leo, Aldebaran is with Taurus, I forget, Fomalhaut is with Pisces. I forget the fixed star for Aquarius. But these are like the pillars of the firmament. There's lots of your Scorpio. Scorpio is also fixed. Did I miss Scorpio? But I basically lined it up that like Raphael is Scorpio, Michelangelo is Taurus, Donatello is Aquarius, and Leonardo is Leo. And I found in looking at all the cool info about the different Renaissance painters and their archetypes as well, because I love Leonardo da Vinci. Like he was, if you look at all of his like doodles and sketchbooks, he's an artist, right? The Mona Lisa, but also like an inventor, right? So Leonardo da Vinci is also a nice infusion of art and science if we think about architecting things. And before a bridge, before any great building is built, it needs to be conceptualized first. It needs to be in here first. And so you do that by being able to sketch things out, draw things out, and even talk things out with other people. When I was a project manager, a big part of the project is just that beginning brainstorming session where you're like, what are we even doing here? Because there's like 6 different ways we can go. But all magic requires is some focus, right? So there's this idea that, I didn't bring this back to Zatanna. So Zatanna is supposed to be Leonardo da Vinci's great-great-great-great-great-granddaughter. And she was supposed to have also inherited his notebook. So that's interesting. Like on her father's side, which is not Homo Magi, she also has this magical inclination. So we can learn some magic. Alan Moore, I feel like, has put stuff in comic books specifically for me to find. And I've been working on a Promethea cosplay, which may or may not break reality. So we will see. I've been rereading some Promethea and like tripping myself out because I recommend you guys, even if you have read a book, let's say 3 or 4 times from like when you were a kid and you're like, I know that story. Trust me, when you're like whatever age you are right now, like 30, 40, like 22 versus 18, like you are a different being when you're interfacing with that piece of art. And so those messages are only going to be clear when you're ready to receive them, right? So like I went back and like reread stuff where I'm like, I swear I read this and I don't remember it like hitting me so hard, right? That's another way of divinating, right? Like you could have like a comic book and flip to whichever page and then realize that, oh, that's the panel that I'm meant to read, right? So in this, you've got Constantine. Constantine in Justice League Dark is like their leader, but he's very, reluctant because he's clearly an anti-hero. Kind of interesting also that Keanu Reeves plays Constantine. Rachel Weisz, I love her. She played, I forget who she played in the first Constantine, but they really didn't tie that into the DC universe, right? However, the recent Crisis on Infinite Earths animated version that came out, I think, last year, they put in Constantine as like Pariah's character. So it's a really cool way of infusing like, oh, there's a restart to a multiverse, this concept of like how worlds are even built, how jumping dimensions looks like, what it means for a reality never to have existed, and like what memories are in the grand scheme of things. The rights to his stuff transfer back to him once the DC stops reprinting it. But DC perpetually reprints. Is that true? So it's so crazy with all of like the different... Okay, give me a restriction, but it doesn't seem to be affecting anything. Okay, maybe I'll leave it for now until I restart, and I'll start a little flash goal. Okay. I'm not... Maybe I should have just... What? It's really getting mad at my outfit. I can't believe it. Why? It's not that bad. Thank goodness I didn't we didn't have this set up in time to dance tonight, because I feel like, wow, TikTok, you'll get mad at me. It's not even bad. Trust me. So I'm going to continue on my little talk about magic, because this is already restricted. And so even when actually some of you guys may have been here, you guys may have been here when my live got restricted at exactly 3:33 a.m. when I was reading Promethea. So you know what, let's just jump into reading some Promethea, because Promethea always gets me like restricted and banned anyway, so why not, right? We're already here. And then I'll maybe reset and we'll do the rest of Justice League Dark, which is a bit more of like a family friendly reading. So I'm just gonna make sure I'm mirrored so you guys can so first of all, hands up class, have any of you read Promethea? No? Yes? Oh yes, Watchmen, Swamp Thing, V for Vendetta, that just keep pumping out. Oh, wow. Alan Moore must hate that. Him and Grant, oh my gosh, I have full body tingles when I said that. Grant Morrison also is another one who I think is very wizardy in nature. I think any one of you out there, though, if you create art, if you draw, if you write poems, if you fantasize in vivid 3D, you're kind of a magician already. So it's just about honing focus, right? And also just having it for something. It's about goals, because my nickname at work was Two, the Rage, and then also Unicorn, right? Because I would make magic happen, because no matter what obstacle there is always a way around it, right? We just haven't figured out the solution yet. So I look at technology as a response to a solution, but magic is more about, how do I define it? How do you guys define it? Because a lot of people are just like, well, magic is like, well, I can just make whatever appear, or make things disappear, or make things levitate. But like, what's the difference between like having superpowers like Supergirl and magic, right? So I have Promethea. I'm gonna answer that question with not an answer. Oh, hey, Samurai Ninja. Welcome to the live. So we are reading some Promethea before I do some Justice League Dark. I was going to just go into the synopsis of that, but that's about divination, right? So what stories does the universe want to hear tonight? Let's revisit Promethea. So the story behind Promethea for me is super trippy. So I tell you guys my own personal journey to magic. Where should I begin? Okay, so when I worked in corporate from, oh my gosh, 2012. Yeah, 2012. Oh, thanks, Sarah. I just said 2012, yes. Oh my gosh, the time and my head is all going crazy for a second. Like, where are we in time space? So anyways, I worked in corporate. So I first started as a project manager at Chrysler. So Dodge, Fiat, Chrysler. I love cars. I love muscle cars. I love, like, you know, the Dodge Challenger was like my favorite car at that. And I got to work on the Dodge Viper. We did auto shows. So what I did was project manage for all like the website that Fiat, Dodge, Chrysler had to deal with. So all of like the specs and the photography and like knowing all that kind of stuff, translations into French from English about things like best in class or what does 400 horsepower mean in English versus French, that kind of stuff. So it was really kind of a cool experience because I was a project manager, right? But I got to work with really creative people and I got to know a lot of people who, you know, this is a job, but you're also like very creative. Like I worked with a guy who his whole job was just cutting images, but he was so talented. He could draw so much. He used to draw me little like Pokemon on Post-its and I'd put it all over my desk. So it's just kind of like, maybe these people just like, maybe you were supposed to be a comic book artist. But we have to survive, right, in this matrix. And so we work jobs that perhaps are not our heart's calling, but we do them for a time in order to feed our larger goals. So for me, I was working 9 to 5, but I was also personal training, right? I was very involved in the fitness industry. I competed a lot. So I went to nationals in 2017 and placed top 10 in bikini. I went to Vegas multiple times and did the Flex Bikini Model Search. I did Miss Hawaiian Tropic. I did like lots of modeling gigs out in like the desert. So like I did that whole thing, but that whole time, you guys, I was so stressed. I didn't like sleep ever constantly. I was all like, because project management is a very demanding job, right? Your job doesn't end 9 to 5, right? When you launch, we used to launch our websites for Chrysler at midnight, right? Because customers were using the site. You need to do it at an off time, rolling it, all that kind of stuff. Vipers are very cool. Jerry Seinfeld has every color ever. Really? Jerry Seinfeld loves the Viper. Interesting. It looks beautiful in a yellow, I think. I like the Dodge Viper in a yellow most of all. And yes, I'm going to help you guys learn magic. It looks like my restriction has gone away. So I guess as long as I'm not like backing up too much on the time. Yes. So let's bring this back to Promethea and learning magic and coming out of corporate and then coming into a more creative space, right? So I have discovered that, you know, a lot of the tools when I was first growing up and like learning video editing and learning production and all that stuff, they were so expensive, right? Or you needed like a whole team of people to do your graphics or all that kind of stuff. So like now it's all right there. And on top of that, you do have like AI as well. I have a whole other opinion on AI. Granted, I grew up with a father who taught computer science at the University of Manitoba. So I had access to computers like Macintosh 2s and the internet in the early 90s that my friends had no idea that what I was talking about. So I remember me and my friend Rachel, yes, Rachel and Rachel, when she, you know, like AOL back in the day had those like CDs that you would get like free internet for a time, right? So she had that and we coordinated time to meet in like a chat room and we thought it was like the coolest thing. But I'm like, you know what? What's cooler actually is us playing in real life. Now that I think about it, right? Oh, I was the best PM. I would say so. You can ask any of the guys I used to work with. Funny story about that. One of the girls I used to manage, she went for an interview with a girl that I used to manage as well. So I worked in, as I said, worked in corporate in downtown Toronto for like 10 years. But prior to that, as I said, I did like go-go dancing and all that kind of stuff. But as I got more elevated in the corporate world, like my last job before leaving corporate was, oh my gosh, country relationship manager of global digital at KPMG. So I managed 137 countries, and I had my top 8 countries that I used to deal with, like Germany, the US, the UK. I used to deal with Switzerland, Germany was my favorite. I loved Belgium a lot as well, but English is the business language of the world. However, like places like France, I love how like they would like misunderstand on purpose. What on okay, TikTok, so what the hell? We're in the same circles. Oh my gosh, we might be. I left a while ago though. They wanted to keep me, but I took it as a sign from the universe, as this was my moment to take, like, to reconfigure where I was going, right? Because I'm a writer, I'm a poet, I'm a dancer, I'm more of a creative myself, and so I have my own comic book I'm working on, and my own movie I'm trying to work on. I get that all funded and crowdfunded, and so I thought I could juggle working with that. And so eventually, like, my own goals and dreams went by the wayside, and I was living out all of corporate's dreams and goals. So that's the whole trick though. Like, how are we supposed to work on things like magic and all of that kind of juicy good stuff when we're busy like meeting deadlines and like the next meeting and putting together my presentation and like all that kind of stuff, right? So I welcome you guys to take this time. Right now we do have a new moon in Gemini, and it's like this new way of us interfacing with like what it means to be and like what our magnum opus is in life, that kind of situation. Deloitte, oh my goodness, Deloitte, I am the top 4, right? The top 4 consulting agencies. And it's so funny, whenever I would tell people back home in Winnipeg about like my job when I was working for KPMG, they like just didn't get it. They didn't get what I did. I'm like, well, I kind of just talk to people all day. And then I used to do like my Apple calls. I used to call them on a monthly basis, where I would talk about all the digital implementations that we were doing across the globe. But what I also found that was interesting, cross country, being a manager and talking to people in different languages, and is that we are so much more similar. And when we think about things like symbols, and that's the first key of like magic, I think, is to be able to decode what already is. It's this concept of like telling the future. For example, tomorrow on my YouTube channel, I'm doing a presentation on oracles. So oracles, it's like also relating that to the DC universe, right? Like Oracle is Barbara Gordon after what happens to the Killing Joke, and Oracle is to orate. It's about your throat chakra, being able to be the voice of God. You have like Metatron, the angel, who's also like that conduit of whatever thoughts are, whatever inspiration is. Whenever, you know, a tune just enters your head, you're like, oh, that sounds good. Where does that come from, right? It comes from like the place where everything imaginative and wonderful and creative comes from. It's just like from that time stream, or rather, it's not a time stream the way I see it. I look at it as like a time wall, because we kind of have that as like the boundaries to what we're playing in, but we're able to reach outside of that to pull in things that are not yet fully formed but are still just living in that imagination realm. And so Alan Moore does a great job in Promethea describing the connection between matter and mind, and puts together a lot of stuff that is in tarot in a story, which is kind of fun. Time does not exist. Oh no, I'm not talking over your head. No, you know what? I will say this. it's like, you know, when you go to school and because I was in English literature, you have to read a lot of books, right? And so I'm going to be honest, I wasn't able to get to all the books. And so for some of the assignments or some of the things, you're like, I'm going to get Cole's notes, right? I'm going to get the abridged version. I'm just going to get the plot of the story. And I will tell you, it is a different experience knowing what the story is versus reading it and being in it itself, right? It's different if I tell you what the story of Promethea is versus you going ahead and like having this intimate moment with the book and having it give you the messages it's supposed to. And yet there's another way when someone is reading you a story, right? I have very fond memories growing up of my father reading to me a book before bed from the time I was like 3 onward. And then when I could read, I read myself a book before bed. So I read a lot of stories. So it's, and to me, I always, on a lot of levels, it like those characters have felt a lot more real than people I even knew in real life, because I didn't know a lot of people that age. I was super shy, and so I had my close friends, and I would just let them in on my imagination. What we would do at lunch would be like, I would dream interpret for my friends. I would tell everyone what I dreamt about the night before, because I had vivid, amazing dreams, episodic. I will say when I got on birth control, that kind of killed my dreams for a bit, but being off it has helped. So the relationship between your hormones and I think your psychic abilities, there's something along there. Oh yes, we got you at Cole's notes, right? And it's just not it's not the same. It's just not the same knowing what, like for example, Shakespeare, right? I've read a lot of Shakespeare. I don't know if you guys, let's ask the chat, because I think that Shakespeare is a cipher for bigger messages. Like same thing with the Bible. Like these works have, because of the rhythm and meter, like oracles, for example. Oh my gosh, I'm jumping ahead of myself in my like topic. Okay, let's go back to oracles, and then I'm going to read you some Promethea, and then we will go from there. Okay. I did want to ask if I would be amazing in Asmer. I have a friend of mine. She's like an Asmer artist. Adil. Hey girl, if you're watching this, I used to dance with her here in Toronto, but she like moved to Miami because she was like making bank being Asmer, and I was like, wow, you're so cool. She's like, you could do it too. I'm like, I am not that brave. Like there's a whole there is a whole art to that, right? Stay calm, you're in control. The Bhagavad, oh my gosh, I can't pronounce that, Jamrock, but you're totally correct. You're cool too. Oh, thank you. So you know, it's funny, when I first started reading you guys comics, I used this as like a security blanket. I was like, I'm going to pretend that there's like not even really anyone here, and I'm just going to be like, I'm just here over here reading it, right? Voila, Asmer. It's about modulating your voice, right? There's Asmer voice, about how you sound, and my hubby has told me that from when I left corporate to when I started doing more like live streamings and making videos and stuff like this, it's taken me a while to sound like me again, right? Because I don't know if you guys know, like when you work in corporate, when you like how you answer the phone, like hello, or you're like good morning, happy Friday, everybody, welcome. There's just like this intonation of like, I feel like corporate speak, and like it took a while for me to just like sound like just me again, or like, because I'm just more naturally soft spoken, so I've had to like learn how to like project my voice so I can be heard and like be like not be talked over and that kind of stuff, especially in like workplaces and meetings and stuff. And it's like very much against my nature, but I like went in there like to train, right? That's the way I kind of looked at corporate for me. Was kind of like for me to write about anything, I would have had to experience it. So I went through the trenches in like 33 Bay Street, right? I worked for pharmaceutical companies and for the hospital. So I have like an inner view of how these things actually work. And then I also have my own personal relationship with the divine and the universe and magic and all that kind of stuff as well, right? So let's go to some Promethea. I have all my restrictions gone. Yay, you guys. Yay. I thought the jacket would have been enough, but I think it was just me like doing the glove thing, and then they're like, maybe I'm being too sexy. And I had to like work on that when I worked in corporate too, right? I had to like make sure I wasn't too much. And so I'm happy to now not have to worry about that anymore. I'll be back, sorry, Doris. Oh, thank you, Jackpot. Oh my gosh, Office Space is a great movie. Oh my gosh, there is a movie on Shudder that's really good, where the guy goes like up his office building, he just kills a bunch of people. Oh my gosh, what's it called? Oh my god, I will find it. I love violent movies. It's my Venus and Aries, what can I say? I also love like John Carpenter, like horror movies, slasher films, all that kind of stuff. God, Mitch, hey, how's it going? We're gonna read some Promethea. I've realized I've read Promethea before with you guys. I have me as a moon princess reading book 5 of Promethea, which is the conclusion of Promethea, but I'm going to read you something that I didn't even mean to read this because I've read this multiple times, but I actually received these comic books as gifts from my friend Liz, who's originally from, oh my gosh, Kazakhstan. I cannot pronounce that country, Liz. I apologize. But she gifted this to me because when she was about 20, she was hospitalized. They institutionalized her. They said that she was psychotic. I think that she just has a very active imagination, and we can get into like what schizophrenia is, what madness is, who gets to decide what that is. It's such a touchy topic, but however, she was institutionalized, and her next door, her roommate basically gifted her Promethea, and he was this Filipino man. And it's funny because I'm half Filipino, so it was just, she then gifted it to me because she's in my book. My Dragon Warriors book that I'm writing is based on real people and real women in my life, and real guys as well. So some of you may already be in the book, we just don't know it yet, right? So it's been so trippy for me as I've been writing things, because that's been my magic. My friend Rachel is actually now married to the guy who I wrote about in the book in 1999 that she would be with, Brian. And my friend Laura is with now Brad. So it's like this idea too of like, we create roles for those that we love to step into our lives, and we have more sovereignty over it than we think. And Promethea is a beautiful read, right? It's this idea that she is meant to be a living imagination. So I'm just going to read you some of my favorite panels, and then I will, you know what, I think that will probably take us there. I meant to do Death of Magic. You know what, I'll do a couple panels, then we'll do Death of Magic, and then we'll wrap, because it looks like my restriction is gone. Yay. Issued on May 26th. It still says it's there, but I don't know. Should I stop it and restart it, you guys? What do you think? I'm just gonna leave it. Forget it. I'm hearing Wolfie though. Wolfie, do you want to come say hi to your fans? No? Okay. All right, so the illustrations are done by Mick Gray, I believe, or J.H. Williams III. Yes, penciler. It's fun how, with comics, how Alan Moore is not an artist, right? So this idea of like having a story that artists, or who he chooses to, like, Dave Gibbons is the artist for Watchmen, right? And that's a very different look than this comic book, which you'll see. It reminds me a lot of like Fifth Element vibes. It's supposed to take place in 1999. Now, if you're not familiar with Promethea, I'm just going to give you some back origin story. I'll read you that panel. There's some beautiful work here. I'll show you first. Like that. Is that great? I love it. Let's read you here. Alexandria 411 AD. And so this like takes place in Alexandria back in the day, right? And then, well, there is nothing for it. They are coming for me, as they came for beautiful Hypatia. Best go now, beloved daughter. All my love and all my gods shall be about thee as a mantle. Father? So her father's a magician. And basically this is the origin story of Promethea. She was once a little girl. I'm not gonna, this read already exists. I have it somewhere on my channel. I don't want to revisit it because there's already so much that happens in this story. We could probably spend some time on Discord or on not TikTok to dissect it a little bit more, because intel on astrology helps you understand what I think Alan Moore's trying to say in a lot of this kind of stuff. So you basically have this like Christian fanatical mob that's coming after heretical magicians here, and they murder him. We going back into present day 1999. You can see the flying taxis. That's why I say it reminds me a little bit of like Fifth Element. Check to see if it doesn't look like I'm restricted. Like and I'm still able to like get diamonds and stuff, so I think we're okay. It's all like manifestation magic, right? I think it's also too that this shirt is really low cut, and it's like, I think it's I'm not gonna attempt it. The cleavage thing, I think. Okay, so I'm gonna back up a little bit and face this way. All right. So I'm just giving you guys some backstory as to how Promethea became Promethea. So we're now out in the middle of the desert near Alexandria, Egypt-ish area. Alexandria, 411 AD. Father? Father, it's getting dark, and I'm scared. Girl, your father's gone. Father? Father, please. Don't be dead. Please, please, please. I don't know where to go. Daddy? Daddy, you said I'd be all right. She's crying. I'm all on my own, Daddy. Please save me. You said there would be gods. You said they would look after me. You promised, Daddy. You promised. And then it cuts to, like if this was like a movie or like an animation, cut scene. And then now we're back in 1999, or Sophie Bangs. Think of it, Sophia, and then the Big Bang. That's like how I look at that name. Remember, names and stories are not for nothing. Even Zatanna, her name, like she's named after her father, Zatara, and he was also a magician. Also, Zatanna is one of those characters who's also like famous. She's like a famous stage illusionist. And you don't see a lot of female magicians out there, right? My hubby was telling me about this girl magician. She was like a princess, and she used to teach magic. I'll find that show. But I'm like, oh, we should recreate that. Do like, okay guys, I'm going to teach you how to do card tricks and how to make yourself levitate. Okay, so, oh yes, Zatanna and John Constantine together have some good chemistry as well. There's a cute scene in the Justice League Dark, because I'm not going to go into that just now. We're gonna finish up Promethea, and then we'll jump to Justice League Dark, because those themes are going to interconnect, I think, actually. Your name is John. Oh, John. Well, thank you for bringing your energy to this live. I feel like there's such divination that happens when I do these, right? And the story that I tell, or the story that ends up coming out and is received, right? Because there's only magic when you're there to get it, right? So for me, it never matters to me whether there's like 100 people or like 2 people, or if it's like my hubby listening to me, right? Because or even no one. I recommend you guys even like try reading out loud. Get used to the sound of your voice. It is magical. Like I remember for me, like even listening to it on recording back then, because I wanted to be on the radio, right? Like radio DJ. That may still happen with my Renegade Pirate radio station, so stay tuned for that. Oh, good. I'm glad that John's a good name, though. I will do this. I'm glad that I've given you inspiration to do that, right? Because magic is real, right? I love Merlin. I love just the concept of like nature spirits, right? It's not something that is attuned to, like, I'll give you guys a quote from this movie that we watched where like the British were taking over New Zealand, right? And New Zealand has like the haka and like the warrior dance and like I used to play rugby, so like I know like the All Blacks and stuff. So go Springboks though, because I'm half South African. But there in the movie, the British come and they're like, hey, we worship the God Almighty. These people, they just worship trees and twigs and stuff. And I was like, motherfucker, God is in the trees and twigs. That's not a differentiation between like the Almighty Creator and like what we are in, like you and I as being expressions and mirrors of the universe and creation, right? So I don't love mine. Oh, Invictus. I don't love mine. Oh, well, Invictus is that was a good movie, actually, and this concept of sport and like I had a lot of fun playing rugby, actually. Yeah, we're all part of it, right? Oops. Okay, so let's continue on. I'm gonna cut after that quick commercial break. I love this panel so much because it's Thoth and Hermes, right? And in astrology, this is Mercury, right? And today, if you guys joined me for my earlier astro presentation, we talked about how Mercury is currently with the sun and moon as we have this new moon, right? So that is the extra magic afoot right now, right? This idea of, okay, I have all this stuff happening in the subconscious and in my dream realm, like, if I can dream it, I can do it. What is that from again? If I can dream it, there's nothing to it. I believe I can fly. Oh my gosh. Except R. Kelly's kind of like we don't like R. Kelly. Hi, Mark Weir. Hey, Northern Ireland. Oh, one of the girls in my Dragon Warriors, she's from that area. I love the myth and story of Ireland. I had a good girlfriend who used to do, oh my gosh, is river dance Irish or is that Scottish? Like the Highland dancing I know is Scottish, but however, I do love all of the goddesses that exist in that part of the world. Bringing this back to magic itself and this whole idea of like I grew up very Catholic and you know, there's no place for magic in the very, let's say, strict way of looking at scripture, or if you're going to follow things very canon. Because, of course, there's a lot of rules about, like, how you achieve enlightenment, how you achieve self-actualization. It has to be done through, like, a priest. It has to be done through a church, done through certain kinds of ways. So they, like, outlawed things like women being able to sew amber into their clothes, and amber is sacred to the goddess, right? Because if you think about like the resin in trees, that's like earth blood. Like oil is earth blood, right? This whole concept of like we are not living on top of the earth, we are living within her. And like to quote Pocahontas, like I know every rock and tree and creature has a life, has a spirit, and has a name. And it's not in this like cheesy way of like tree hugging and like everyone biking everywhere and like paying extra for plastic bags. Like that's not That's not having a connection with nature herself. There's messages everywhere if you just like shut the F up and listen, right? I hear the birds every day when I go out and take my doggy out, speak to me about just like, hey girl, when are you gonna talk? Like, call this friend up. Make sure that you like do this. Like, just and by the way, you look beautiful today. Like, thank you. But it's just one of those things that if the truth doesn't shout, it whispers, right? So sometimes we just have to like and just wait for a little bit. Not like how I am with like computers, right? You know, when something goes wrong, so you try to like click a bunch of other stuff and then like that causes it to. Okay, so remember, little girl out in the desert. Her father has been killed by religious fanatics, and now she's left alone. So she's calling out for help, and then Thoth and Hermes show up. So here we go. Don't be afraid. You were lost, but now you have been found. Now everything is well. Are you one of my father's gods, come to keep me safe? No, I am two of your father's gods. Over here, just so the mic's a little closer to me and not the music. Yeah. This way. Doo-doo. Oh, and hello, Moonclaws. Welcome to the read. I am your host for this evening, Zatanna, the Mistress of Magic from the DC Universe. Welcoming you guys all to finding your own inner magic, that's right, and harnessing that within yourself, right? Okay. No, I am two of your father's gods. I am Thoth Hermes, and I cannot keep you safe, not in this present world. Why not? Our influence here is waning, our priests slain by those of the new god. A dark age is coming. Only in my world, the immateria, can I protect you. And there, you would no longer be a little girl. You would instead be a story. Would I still be alive? Would I be able to come back and visit this world? Well, you would live eternally, as all stories do. As for coming back, well, sometimes if a story is very special, it can quite take some people over. We'll see. Come along. Is your world very far? No. It is always in the place where you are standing. Tell me, child, what is your name? Promethea. And then they're out. So that's how Promethea are telling us her a little bit, right? I got some tingles on it. So when I do the cosplay for Promethea, as I said, I'm like, am I going to break reality when I do that? Yeah, so I can actually read the little origin story here. See, Promethea was a real little girl who lived in 5th century Roman Egypt. Her father was a Hermetic scholar, sort of like a magician. A Christian mob killed him, not uncommon back then, but the gods intervened, taking his daughter into the world of myth and fiction, the immateria. Promethea became a living story, growing up in a realm that all dreams and stories come from. Let's see here. Sometimes she'd wander into the imagination of mortals. And so it says here, like, to be a host, let's say, or to be a conduit for Promethea, you simply have to do something artistic and like write about her, right? So Sophie Bangs, the latest iteration of Promethea, she does so by writing poetry. So it's like to transform, and I think that's a tell for all of us as well. Like when we talk about like activating to your superhero self, and like, is it like tapping your heart chakra and being like, time to transform? Or I don't know, that wasn't very inspiring, but maybe it's about each of us figuring out what that invocation is. Like, invoke yourself, right? Let the lightning come, like the quickening, and like it's, yeah, I got some full body tingles reading that. So I'm just gonna jump ahead. There's a scene that I wanted to show you guys. Like the way that the Immateria is designed is very beautiful in terms of how fantastical it all looks. Also, the different versions of Promethea, their costuming are all different depending on like who's like holding that story, basically, right? So like, for example, Misty Magic Land, right? And, oh God, I know this place. We know this place. Because remember the difference between like Promethea and like the you that's holding Promethea, like, you know, in Batman, like, or Batgirl, like Barbara Gordon has this conversation in one of her comic books where it's like, everything I do for Batgirl, like, but where's Barbara's needs, right? So and that's like a very big lesson of like Gemini season, right? Like the different aspects of you that you play in your life, and which ones maybe have like need to exit stage right, and maybe which ones have yet to be birthed and created, right? Reginald Young, the Ringmaster. Oh, thank you. Yes. I've decided to do Zatanna to talk about magic. I did initially wanted to do Justice League Dark, but I got onto a Promethea kick because I don't make the rules. The universe tells me what stories need to be told out loud. And so, like, sometimes, like, some people just don't have access to these stories. I didn't even know about Promethea until it was gifted to me. And I love Alan Moore. Like, I have Watchmen. I have V for Vendetta. I have, like, I'm trying to get his Superman story for the Man Who Has Everything, as well as Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow, right? So those are some good ones. Swamp Thing I don't own yet, not by Alan Moore. But of course, like all of these characters, each writer that writes about that character, you leave a piece of you in that, right? So one of the Prometheas here, like in real life, he's like a man, right? But because he writes about Prometheus so well, he's an aspect of his imagination. So he's Promethea, like he turns into a girl, right? So I think in there is the nuance behind gender and magic in terms of like, for example, Mass Effect, right? The video game Mass Effect. Commander Shepard, you can play that game as either a male or a female, but when I play Mass Effect, I love playing as Commander Shepard, because as a boy, as a guy, because he gets all the ladies, and I feel like Mass Effect, like Commander Shepard is a man to me. However, you can play as a female, right? But just because I'm a female playing a male character doesn't mean that I consider myself male, right? So like all of that in how we identify as beings, I think can get so caught up with like matrix stuff and it trying to like figure that out. Okay, where are we? I wanted to read the part about the end of the world because I had a psychedelic experience that was literally like from, okay, here we go, perfect. I'll read you these guys, super trippy panels. Oh God, it's different every time. So the Immateria, or like, I like to call it the dreamscape, the land of the imagination, it always looks a little different every time because it's always like a river, constantly changing with everybody's thoughts and dreams and impressions. Oh God, it's different every time. Okay, I'm imagining this. I'm still sitting in the hospital and I'm imagining this. Well, that's debatable. Debatable? Why? It's practically what is this? Intractable? Oh my gosh. She's clearly sitting here, imagining a hospital, yet she claims the complete reverse. I agree. It's more than intractable. It's unfalsifiable. Oh my gosh, Alan Moore, the words you use. You do this just to troll me. In fact, very near ineffable. So you've got these like weird, like gross harpy guys. They're clearly bad guys. They're trying to throw her off her track in the imagination world. Be careful of those things as well. What are you? We are the supreme beings of the cosmos, right? We can prove it. We have lovely numbers and we talk back to front. Do you have anything to trade? Trade? I don't remember. Is that why I came here? Yeah, of course it is. You must recall me. Made arrangements with your aunt. All the important, oh my gosh, balloons were truncated. Hurry up and decide. It's impecative. They're just using a bunch of fancy words, which I feel like is a tell for people who just try to like talk around you like scam artists. Be careful of scam artists, even in imagination land. Verm, be gone. I'll not have handlerums in this place. Alright. Oh yes, I love this version of Promethea. Look at what a babe she is. Da-da-da. I think you heard me. Leave or burn. Geez, what were they? Oh, the oh my gosh, I can't even say that. Pendledrums? Oh, they're just distractions. Gibberish. Fluttering thoughts to lead the mind astray. You have to be stern with them. I'm Margaret, and you must be Sophie. Oh, I love Margaret. Yeah, Sophie Bangs. I guess you're here to meet me because I'm who you thought about, because I'm who you thought about most recently. Yes, the rules are surprisingly simple once you know them. I'm glad you came, Sophie. You need counseling. You need advice. Yeah, that's what Barbara said. Listen, first off, I am sitting in a hospital imagining this conversation, right? Well, yes, your body is sitting in a physical location, and this is all in your imagination, not your imagination, though. The imagination. The imagination, you make it sound like there's only one of them. Oh, there is. There's a material world and there's an immaterial world. Both worlds exist, but in different ways. For example, chairs exist, but so do the idea of chairs. Yeah, okay, but I mean, everybody's imaginations are separate, aren't they? I mean, everyone has their own private mental space, right? Of course they do. Just like their house is their own private physical space. But the territory outdoors belongs to everyone. If your mind behaved like a place, I mean, every time anyone followed a trail of thought, they'd be walking a pathway into the immateria. Humans are amphibious. Sophie, that means they live in two worlds at once, matter and mind. I know, right? This is just the beginning of Promethea too. I was like rereading this and I'm like, what the heck? Oh, this part's good. Look at how trippy it looks. Super psychedelic. Great. Love it, love it, love it. Yet, many people only notice the solid world they have been conditioned to think of as more real. While all about them, diamond glaciers creak and star volcanoes thunder. But what about ideas? Why do some people have better ideas than others? Oh, ideas grow like flowers here. Some are common ideas found everywhere. But if you want the rarer ideas, the more exotic blossoms, you'll have to travel further. Artists, scientists, philosophers, they're the pioneers of these territories. But you're saying anybody could explore this if they wanted to. Oh yes. That's why Promethea's enemies find her so threatening. It's what she represents. What do you mean? I mean, Jack Faust told you that Promethea was intended to end the world. In a way, he was right. Promethea makes people more aware of the vast immateria. The vast immateria realm. Maybe tempts them to explore it. Imagine if too many people followed where she led. It would be like the great Devonian leap from sea to land. Humanity slithering up the beach from one element into another, from matter into mind. We have many names for this event. We call it the rapture. We call it the opening of the 32nd path. We call it the awakening, or the revelation, or the apocalypse. But I suppose end of the world will do. But the end of the world, that's a bad thing, right? The world isn't the planet or the life and the people on it. The world is our systems, our politics, our economies, our ideas of the world. It's our flags and our banknotes and our border wars. I was at Ypres. I was at the Somme. I say this filthy mess ends now. Jack Faust, he said that Promethea was her father's dying curse upon humanity. Curse? Promethea wasn't his curse on existence. She was his gift to it. Promethea is imagination. What other comfort did the poor boys who died here have? What else except, what is this? Mumford Owen's poems, or the Angel of the Mons, or Promethea? If you'd heard them, all those boys, there was nothing I could do. They were calling for their mother, and she cries. It's a really hard part to read. Please excuse me. It's silly, really. I was just a cartoonist. My only concerns were my art, my deadlines, and my paycheck. And then Promethea happened to me, and all of a sudden I felt responsible for the problems of the world and every avoidable disaster and plague. When the First World War erupted, it felt like a personal failure. But, I mean, wars just happen. How is that a failure on your part? Because Promethea is imagination, and Because all war and conflict is not but the failure of imagination. The four horsemen don't cause the apocalypse. After all, they've been riding for centuries, hanging above our heads. They merely symbolize what life on Earth is already like. They show us why we need an apocalypse. Mankind must imagine a way to rise above the perilous material situation that it has created. And that is why Promethea is necessary. So that's where I'm going to end it in terms of Promethea, because this is book 1. I have book 5's reading on my Cosplay and Comic Books channel as a Moon Princess. So I will link these 2 readings together in the replay, because this lays out the framework as to like why everyone's after Promethea, because she's supposed to bring about the end of the world. But the end of the world is not necessarily anything to fear if we think about even Ragnarok or cycles of time, where, you know, there is a fall, there is chaos for a bit, but that's like the necessary clearing for us to rise above and step into who you're supposed to be and what the new stage is, like to birth anew. Oh yeah, I agree with that. It is. And I mean, just like how time feels like it's, you know, speeding up, slowing down. In Promethea, they talk about the reason behind that is because of like the electromagnetic changes and like the solar flares and all of this stuff. Our ways of us interfacing with time is going to change very dramatically, right? Like, even like the concept of like daylight savings time, when you like turn your hours back an hour, like my dog Wolfie, he's still gonna want food time at the same time, right? It's just like, what do we conceive of as time versus timing of things, right? I like to look at it, my framework is, where do I have it? I bring this here. So I'm making movies. It's all just magic, movie magic, right? Learning about video editing has also told me like there's a lot that happens in the cut. And as you're watching the news, as you're watching anything that you allow into your own sacred consciousness, just take a moment and ask yourself if it deserves to be there, right? I see nothing wrong, of course, with giving things a chance. Like, it's like when you have a new book, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna give it a shot, right? And you start reading it. Or you watch a movie, right? You're like, I don't really know what this movie's about. The trailer says, and you start watching it. You don't have to finish it, you know? You can just be like, I don't want to like have more time put into this. Like, it's hurting my brain. I've had to do that with a few movies, but other movies surprise you, right? They seem like they're going to be one thing and there's something else. And if you don't give it that chance to just have the moment to be like, wait a minute, what does this actually mean? Then you never would have known, right? So you'll learn things you never knew, right? And you'll never know unless you never know that you don't know, right? Peace and serenity. Oh, yes. Oh, I wish you too luck and miracles as well, my friends. 'Tis the season of miracles and magical things, my friends. I give every movie a shot. I think that's a good perspective to have, right? And that is the lesson and learning of the mutable signs, like Gemini, Virgo, and Sagittarius and Pisces are mutable signs. So I have a lot of fixed placements because I'm a Taurus, fixed in cardinal. So this idea of being mutable, being flexible, being able to shift and be change, to be able to put on another mask whenever you need to. Because when we think about, let's say, plant medicine or doing inner work or all of this, let's call them woo-woo things, there's this concept of like our ego, right? And like we need to like break our ego so we can see beyond the veil and do all that kind of stuff. And like it's not about like destroying your ego, it's about having a healthy ego, right? About realizing that you're more than your ego. You're multifaceted. And so in stepping outside of your mask and outside of your ego construct and realizing, oh, I'm also the director, the conductor, the stage, the tree, and everything too. But for this time, for this moment in time space, I'm going to play as Rachel Z. And what does that mean? That can be anything you want it to mean, right? Given the parameters that you have at play. And trust me, what seem like curses to others are gifts to others, right? So like I grew up, my mom Filipino, my dad South African, in the 80s, in the prairies, and I had an amazing childhood. But at the time, I was like so griping about everything. Like, nothing happens here. I'm so bored, blah, blah, blah. Because I was just out in the middle of nowhere. But because of that, I found working out, the gym, dancing with my friends, like creating an imaginative world because we didn't have distractions. So now being in the big city of Toronto, I am very blessed to have that. So it's all like a matter of perspective. And so if you think about your story, if you're going through a really hard time right now, think of it like Lord of the Rings, right? And you know, that battle and things seem dark, but just when you think it's all gonna end, Gandalf shows up with the eagles and backup is on its way. So you guys, it's just about that. It's just a matter of holding on to your heart and realizing that you're right. You know, sometimes we second guess our intuition, where it's like, frick, if I just like followed my gut instinct, you know, it's cool. Just do it next time, right? And as it comes to magic, as it comes to these things, nothing happens by mistake. I don't believe in coincidences at all. It's all on purpose, right? Even like live theater, that's what I love this, and I love how Zatanna is like a classic illusionist as well, because I think Houdini said this. Oh, now they've suspended my gifting. It's time to go. All right, guys, thank you for joining me. I will have the replay for Promethea. Justice League Dark is gonna have to come back for another time. I will maybe try to find more of just a Zatanna title comic book to read you guys as Zatanna next. Just a story all about her, because she deserves it, I think, right? Enough of being like side character in someone else's story. I deserve my own story. Oh, thanks, Tojo. Yes, and I think that it's about you guys being open to the messages and how they appear in the universe, right? Thank you so much. Oh, sure. And thank you guys for joining me. This is Zatanna, your Mistress of Magic, Miss Z. And I hope you guys have a magical time, as well as it takes true courage for you to be exactly you in this cosmic game of life. So remember to play as exactly you, because no one else is going to do it, right? And the universe is counting on you. But no worries, I got your back. Magical support, baby. Until next time, bye.